Had to do that for a long time.
Tuesday, September 21, 24, the Stoughton City Council meeting. If you're looking for cost for a fire station due to the road construction, you can still come down and join us. Otherwise, as always, you can stream online. The first point of business is our roll call. Kristen.
Okay, Abel,
Here.
Butler,
Present.
Caravello,
Here.
Jensen,
Here.
Peyton,
Here.
Reeves,
Here.
Lucky,
Here.
Schumacher,
Here.
Wozniak, Scanlon.
Present.
Thank you. We have 9 alders present. We have Hirsch, Mayaski, and Lagaki absent and excused.
Thank you. Nobody is here and nobody has signed up for comment. So we'll go into communications and presentations. Christian Schumacher, what do you have for us tonight?
Today I was looking at a list of famous people that were born in Stoughton. So that would include people like John Edward Erickson, the governor of Montana, Jerry Fry, the head coach of the Oregon Ducks, Dale Gillingham, Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame, Bob Holmes, star of Canadian television series The Friendly Giant.
Yeah.
Ole Lee, a Wisconsin state representative. Thomas Loftus was an ambassador to Norway. Alonzo Mathiasen, another state representative. John E. McCoy, a U.S. National Guard general. William P. Murphy, Nobel Prize laureate. Reuben Olson, Medal of Honor recipient. Here's another, an Ole Rowe this time, the state representative. A lot of state representatives, quite a few. Carl Thompson was a state senator. And Ralph Wicker was Army Major General. That's it, some of the famous people, but there's a pretty good list of them.
Somewhere right here at this table. All right, any communications from alders? Okay, hearing none. Candy, can you give us a quick election update?
Sure. Let's see. We are busy working on our absentee ballots. Let's see. In-person absentee voting will begin October 22nd. Our hours will be the first week will be 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturday, I don't have the date in front of me. That Saturday it will be 9 a.m. to noon, and then starting on Monday it will be 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then Friday will be 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So we are answering lots of questions. There's lots of third-party mailers out there in case anybody asks you. It's not anything we have control over, but we have a lot of people looking into if they're registered or if their absentee ballot request is coming through the system. And we're working on our trainings and getting everything ready for the election. So any questions from anyone?
None, but good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a great team, so we're getting ready for it. It's very, very busy, as everyone that works at City Hall is witnessing and part of. So thank you.
All right, we'll move into the consent agenda. A couple items in there. I'm going to make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion by Jensen. Is there a second? Second by Alderperson Schumacher. Would anybody like anything after that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? That motion carries. Next item is a resolution R 146 of 2024. It was just that. Person Schumacher.
All right, this is resolution R 140, 2024. The resolution is for the release of irrevocable standby letter of credit for Forward Development Group. So move.
Motion by Schumacher, second by Alder Johnson. Person Schumacher.
This is for the phase 2 portion of their development. We had them open the letter of credit according to their developers agreement for about just shy of $1.9 million. They've gone through the things that they needed to do based on the agreement for phase 2, save a few minor things. So they would like that letter of credit reduced from the 1.9-ish million down to about $21,000 to finish the last pieces out of that phase.
Any questions from alders? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? None opposed, that motion carries. Next one is the urban boundary, R 147. Or this is something that the plan department been working. Chris or Tim, did you want to introduce this one?
Good evening, Mayor. Sure, I can. Alders, how are you doing? So this is an exercise, I guess a little bit more than an exercise because it's a requirement from the federal government and the state. Following census, the decennial census, which obviously was a few years ago, this particular process identifying Stoughton's urban area boundary was started with former planning staff last year, and this is really a cleanup from that. Time is somewhat of the essence in that DOT has to act actually next week. So staff got together, including the city's public works director, and looked at the proposed boundary for this map. The information that's in the packet has some markup and some text and commentary. In the memo that was included in the packet, at that time of that writing, the DOT hadn't seen staff's recommended changes. However, since that memo was written, they in fact have, and what you're seeing on the screen right now reflects DOT's concurrence with staff comments. So the boundary, the urban area boundary that's shown on the map is the one that DOT is fine with and that you'll be acting on. Just one point of clarity though, and maybe you all know this already, but this is not defining Stoughton's corporate boundary. This is merely for planning purposes and really to allow Stoughton to be eligible for grant funding for that STBG, Surface Transportation Block Grant funding. So for projects in the future, again, because remember, this is done every 10 years. So projects that are within this boundary area that may impact Stoughton and directly relate to some transportation improvements, by having this map, Stoughton would be eligible to apply for grant funding. There are certain pots of money at the state level. It comes from the federal government and flows down to the state, and then they're allocated based on the size of municipality. And because we're not part of the Greater Madison MPO urban area, Stoughton is its own urban area. We are allowed to apply under that grouping, and it's urban areas between 5,000 and 20,000 residents. So anyway, there's a lot of explanation about this is a project that's done every 10 years, and this is really updating Stoughton's urban area boundary to allow Stoughton to be eligible to apply for grant funds.
All right, thank you for the explanation. And you might recall in the past, we referred to the MPO, and Brian, when he was here, he was a technical advisor for the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization. And then Alder Carabello is a citizen member. Are you still participating in that? You are. You still have a vested interest.
I am still our representative on the MPO. And yes, because we are actually although we are not technically part of the MPO because of some very convoluted rules, and one of them involving this change due to the census, the new census numbers, we are still in their overall extended urban area, extended urban planning area, but we have to be our own area for purposes of getting our own funding. And like I said, kind of convoluted as far as what we qualify for and what we actually are, but for planning purposes, we are still in, if the last MPO meeting, we talked about hopefully potentially a regional transportation system. So if a regional transportation system discussions happen, we will be part of those because obviously we would want to be in on that and the impact of things such as that. So we're in the MPO, but we're not in the MPO. But I'm still on the MPO because yes, I am still interested in
Well, thanks for doing
transportation.
that. And one project we have coming up next year is, we have some road construction on 4th Street going toward Isham. And that was an example of a grant that we applied for, that we federal money, and it was administered by the NPO. So we're hopeful that in the future we'll continue to apply for those grants, but it sounds like that'll be kept up to us to do that. So we might, Chris and Tim need some help navigating, when those come out and we could apply for. I mean, in the past, I think they might have helped facilitate the application. But Director Haber will probably be involved with that as well. So we'll keep our eyes on that. But that's really the purpose of this. This resolution is really to be consistent with what we actually are designated as, so we can be eligible. Any questions for Tim or for Phil? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to the, is
I will move to approve.
there a second? Second by Alderperson Reeves. Any discussion? Was that Reeves? Any discussion? Please, one more meeting. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
I
And any opposed? None opposed. Motion carries. Next item. Ordinance 18 of 2024 is a first reading. This one is coming from the planning department as well. Director Bunch Pritchard, did you want to introduce this one?
Yeah, so this is just a change in the RDA zoning code that changes it from stating that it is essentially, well, there's two changes. One, it's changing it from RA to RDA throughout the ordinance. And then the second one is the essentially planning director or designee, which prior to that, it was the finance director. So.
Right. Anybody have any questions about that? Otherwise, it would come back to the next meeting unless you were to choose the way the rules, you can do that. Bring it back to the next meeting. Okay, we'll do that. Thank you for that. Number 10 is the plan to fill already vacancy. I think City Attorney Matthew is going to walk us through that. That's what we did. Get a regrettably nation from President Reeves.
So,
Why did we do that?
I think most of you, were here back in April when I said that we were building a house. So, I will be moving to District 3, so I'll be staying in Stoughton. And we will be moving on October 24th officially. So my last day as council person will be October 22nd. my district are.
So,
Go ahead.
so I think we've done this the last year or two with filling a vacancy. There are a few options. You could do nothing, which is always an option, and just leave it vacant until I think 2026 is when President Reeves' term is up. You could call a special election, have it filled, and keep it vacant until that special election. You could appoint somebody to fill out the remainder of the term, would be April again. You could, basically, we've got some time between now and the April election where you could an appointment where it's where it would go until you can call a special election and then have the special election timed up with the April election. Would the appointed have to run again in April and then run again next year for April 20. I think that's what the council did last time, is to basically appoint somebody until you can call a special election that lines up with the spring election. Then, sorry, if that's elected would have been later.
You know, what we wanted to do, since we knew it was coming, is we wanted to go ahead and get it on the agenda. That way, if you chose to fill the position, we can run ads and hopefully bring somebody in here and interview them, so we have as much of a seamless transition as possible. Obviously, Lisa is kind of a big deal, but we want at least not have a gap. Like tonight, for example, we need April form, we have 9. So, you know, we would be working with quorum issues, especially on committees. So if you chose to go down that route, we want to at least get in front of you, we could get it posted and literally possibly appoint somebody on Lisa's last night.
I think we should just go ahead as we have in the past, just interview, offer people to apply, interview, and appoint somebody, and then they would have to just run for election in April. So I think that worked for us. I don't see any reason why to change it.
Okay.
We got 6 months. I guess it'd be roughly 6 months of your term. They would have to, so that makes sense to do it.
Yeah, we figured if we waited any later, it would be kind of point to even consider filling it. Alderperson Payton has virtual hand up.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, I'm a little sick, under the weather today. In terms of this last year, I did notice as I was working the polls, in April that there was some confusion in 4, related to who was running for the full term and who was running in the special election. So I think since it is a year and a half, it's halfway through the term, I would go for appointing someone for the remainder of the term to avoid confusion during the election season. Because somebody might then get confused about voting twice. And I think that's a little unfair to the candidate.
So let me
Do
just
that, Rick?
ask the
I
city
don't think the
attorney.
statutes allow that.
What was that?
I don't think the statutes allow for that.
So he's suggesting that we appoint somebody, not have a special election in April, and just let the appointment go until the term was
That's
up in
correct. It does say in the memo by Rick that you could appoint someone for the full term or for the remainder of the
Yeah.
term.
Yeah, you could appoint somebody to fill out the remainder of the term.
That's what I would recommend doing without the special election.
All right, anybody else have any thoughts?
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
It's never been that way before. They always had to be elected on the very next opportunity. So that in other words, in April 25, they would have to be on that ballot again to maintain it, and it would be for a 1 year.
I'll put it's in ordinance, is that right?
And there's a state statute.
Yeah, there is a state statute on filling vacancies, but there isn't a requirement to call a special election. to fill the vacancy.
So we've been doing it wrong all along?
No, but you've been doing it the way that you want, is to have an election after filling the vacancy.
Okay, so
I
the
think
only thing we're doing it that way then is that we are taking the place of the citizens that would be voting for this person, and I'm not exactly in favor of that. They should be, the voters should be determining who's representing them, not us. So I understand the idea of what DJ is saying, but you know, it doesn't seem right for us to be able to do that.
But Alder Jensen, my counterpoint to that would be, are the citizens voting knowledgeably when they look at their ballot, or are they getting confused when they, I think even the last time there was like, I think Patrick's name got written in a few different places. I really don't remember exactly how that all played out, but there were many different questions about the ballot. Merely because they were like, wait, why are there two different people? And so that the knowledge issue of a voter's competency coming in is what I'd be careful of. But at the same time, it's low risk. But that's where I'm kind of coming from.
Okay, understand that. Candy's group, her people do a pretty good job of informing the public as to who's on the ballot, what the term is, and so on. Beyond that, we can't really educate the populace that, you know, I mean, they have to do their own, they have to do some work on this too. So, you know, I understand where you're coming from. And part of me says, yeah, I just as soon appoint the guy or girl or whoever it is, for a year and a half. But I just don't think ethically it's right for us to do that. I think it should be 6 months and then, an election in April.
Yeah, I will say I would feel different if it was 6 months into a 3-year term, but it's halfway, like the election's going to occur and it'll be one more year, and it's halfway through a term right now. I feel a little different, but I don't want to make it easier, but whatever the council decides, but that's just my opinion.
Anybody else want to share their thoughts?
I'm certainly not in favor of a special election. We already have an election in November, and then another one in April.
Yeah, so the special election would be on April. They just call it a special
Oh,
election
okay.
for the position.
Oh, okay.
To be
Alright.
concurrent with the other items that are being elected in or voted upon in April.
So
That's the
it would be like a situation where
Yeah.
you would have two people in the same district.
Mhm.
One of them, both of them could pull papers for one or the other positions.
Mhm.
So you might have two people running for one position or one of each, or one might, you know, not, nobody might run at all.
I think that was the confusion because I was on the ballot to fill out the remaining term, you know, the year, so this year. And then, there was a vacancy for the other full 3-year term. So
Right.
I think that's where,
Yeah, and for you to run for the 3-year term, you would
I would have
have
had the-
9 candidacy.
Right.
And submit your papers for the 3-year instead of the 1 year.
right, which, yeah, that confusing.
That's what you're running for. Yeah. This is me pretending to be. And she'll correct me if I'm wrong, believe me.
Popular vote, yeah.
So I guess it's up to you. If nobody has an opinion, somebody can make a motion and see where it goes.
I'm sorry, Greg, on this one too. It should be up to the populace for it.
I would make the motion to go with option number 2 on what has been presented. To appoint someone to fill the vacancy and order a special election for the next possible, which would be April.
Okay, is there a second? Also. So there's a motion by Carabella, second by Jensen. Did you catch that, Candy?
Yes, I have it.
Okay, any discussion?
I guess the only other thing I would consider is we have some trouble getting people into these alder seats for general elections, unusual ones. So we'll see how that goes in April.
You're right.
All right.
We got this little damn popular vote. Come on, have faith, DJ.
I have faith, but I'm a reasonable, rational person too.
Even reasonable and rational people can win on a two-person write-in ballot.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll say nay.
Oh, that's one coming from-
There goes reasonable and rational.
Andy, this
Maybe
is
I meant
gonna-
realistic. I'm a little sick.
All right.
The fever.
Andy, did you catch that? Lisa's gonna abstain.
Okay, I did not hear that, so thank you for repeating that.
Sure, yep. So we had one no, one abstention, so the motion carries. All right. I think we need one more motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Beach.
Motion by Butler to adjourn. Who's second? Second by Carabello. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed?
DJ.
No, I'm good.